tell you something kind of cool that happened. Once I can get things fired up here. We did check the piece all 2 weeks ago. Yes, correct. Yes, we did. That's what I thought. At least that's what I studied for, so that's what you're getting if we didn't. So obviously, Moxie's home with us. We know that newborns don't sleep, and it's just the way it is. We've all been through. She's actually done fairly well for us, but last night I was trying to study, and I was just one of those trying to keep myself awake and kind of just trying to get some studying done. And I was just, I'll Pastor Rob, I don't know if I can do this tomorrow or not. If I can get enough clarity of mind to put a lesson together. And so I was up, and the girls, all 3 girls were asleep. I was trying to get the last. I had done some study throughout the week. I was trying to put it all together, and make sure I had all my P's and Q's and all the stuff that I needed for a day. And I was struggling. My mind was I was just tired and all that good stuff. And I just about grabbed the phone at about 10:30 and texted Pastor Rob. I said, "I may need to do a little more week, just kind of let me get kind of our bearings." But so about 12 o'clock last night, Mox wakes up to feed her, and I go in, and Haley's feeds her, and I get the bottle ready for all that kind of stuff. We lay down, and she's been on a good schedule. It's been about 3 hours. She's up, she feeds, kind of goes back to sleep, but we can't complain about it because she's been really, really good so far. Last night she eats at 12 o'clock, and then she doesn't wake up this morning until 6:30. So I slept for like 6.5 hours. And I woke up, and Haley's like, "What time is it?" It's like 3:30, I guess. I'll go get a bottle ready. And she looks at her phone, and she's like, "No, she just slept for 6 straight hours," which, not to brag on Moxie, that was just the Lord. Because I woke up, and I was like, "Man, I feel like a brand new man. My mind's clear, everything feels good," but it was just the Lord taking care. It's a small case, it's a small thing, but a really cool instance where the Lord just took care of me. 1 week's old, they don't sleep for 6 straight hours. Rarely happens. We know that. But the Lord knew that a need was there, right? And He took care of it. Totally awesome. Totally awesome experience that I had. And I wanted to share that with you because I thought it was really, really cool. So, with that being said, if this is a bad lesson, my mind feels good though, so it shouldn't be good. I'm there right along for a couple hours. Let's go to Genesis chapter 26, and let's look at Isaac ignoring God's will. Okay, so again, 2 weeks ago we saw Jacob and Esau and the birthright being connived and taken away. And even though that before these twins were born, we knew that Jacob was going to have the birthright, he kind of took matters into his own hands. And so we've been looking at will versus will, right? We saw the first part of this lesson, sensitivity to God's will. The second part of this, we continue to see more insensitivity to God's will. And today we're going to see Isaac being the one that is being insensitive to God's will. All right, so chapter 26, let's read the first 6 verses to get started. And there was a famine in the land, besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went unto Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord appeared unto him and said, Go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply, as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all these countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Because that Abraham obeyed my voice, and kept my charge, my commandment, my statutes, and my laws. And Isaac dwelt in Gerar. So another famine now hits the land. Okay? And when this famine hits, the Lord shows up and appears to Isaac and tells him to remain where he's at. Okay? Tells him to stay in the land and do not go to Egypt. Give him very clear instructions. Stay where you are and refrain from going to Egypt. Now, Egypt would have been the logical place to go. Think about the time period. The Egyptians, a pretty powerful kingdom, would have had plenty of resources. They're on the Nile River, and there's lots of, the Fertile Crescent and all that stuff kind of happening, so it would have been a pretty logical place to go. But God was very specific and did not want Isaac to go there. Okay? He told him that he would provide for him in the land where he was at. Right now, apparently here the land of the Philistines, more specifically Gerar, as we saw, qualified as this land that God was talking about. He also restates, as we see in the first couple of the last verses 4 and 5 there, kind of restates to Isaac the Abrahamic covenant to remind him that his plan included Isaac's survival, right? He's not going to give Abraham a seed and tell Abraham that many nations are going to come from Isaac and then allow Isaac to die in the famine. It's not going to happen, all right? But God is reinforcing, retelling Isaac all these things to kind of get him to stay where he is. Let's read down verses 7 down through 11 now. And the men of the place asked him of his wife, and he said, "She is my wife." Lest said he, the men of the place should kill me for Rebekah, because she was fair to look upon. And it came to pass, when he had been there a long time, that Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out the window and saw, and behold, Isaac was sporting with Rebekah his wife. And Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, of a surety, she is thy wife. And how saidest thou, she is my sister? And Isaac said unto him, Because I said, lest I die for her. And Abimelech said, What is this thou hast done unto us? One of the people might lightly have lain with thy wife, and thou shouldest have brought guiltiness upon us. And Abimelech charged all his people, saying, He that toucheth this man or his wife shall be surely be put to death." So while in Gerar here, the land of the Philistines, Isaac tells Abimelech, another king of the Philistines, that he and his wife Rebekah were what? Brother and sister, right? They're siblings now. We've seen this song and dance before. Yes, a couple of times. So Isaac, much like his father Abraham, understands the beauty of his wife and is concerned that the king will want to take her for his own life or kill Isaac because, because he is her husband, that way he can freely take her as his wife or what have you. He devises the plan to say that they're siblings. And Rebekah's obviously beautiful here, and Isaac thought that someone in Gerar was going to kill him, or might kill him to get to Rebekah. But the king, in the midst of this, caught Isaac treating Rebekah as his wife. Right? We saw this one sporting out there, probably whatever it was, acting like husband and wife out, whatever the case may be, and holding hands, loving on each other, whatever the case may be. The king saw this and confronted Isaac about Rebekah being his wife. And goes as far as we saw in verses 10 and 11 to express quite a bit of anger. Right? He tells him, you could really cause some problems here, telling us that he's or she's your sister, and then if somebody would have taken her and tried to court her, then y'all are in marriage together and caused quite a bit of problems here. Put his people in a whole lot of danger. So going back to verse 7, though, of chapter 26, what is the motivation here of Isaac to use deception on the king? What's the motivation for him to use deception?
Self-preservation.
Self-preservation, and that self-preservation shows what?
Lack of trust.
Exactly, lack of trust. Okay, that self-preservation, that fear of Abimelech, shows a lack of trust in God. Now, think. Just a couple of days ago, maybe even that morning, or whatever the case may be, who shows up and talks to Isaac? God does. Right? God does. And God tells him what? Specifically, stay put. I know there's a famine, but I'm going to make sure you're taken care of. You're Abraham's son. I didn't tell Abraham I was going to give him a son and create nations from him and then let you die in the middle of this famine. And then not very long after, we don't know the exact time, not very long, we'll make that assumption, Isaac's taking matters here into his own hands because he's afraid someone's going to kill him because of his beauty of his wife, Rebekah. Let's go to verse 12. Then Isaac sowed in that land and received in the same year 100-fold, and the Lord blessed him. And the man waxed great and went forward and grew until he became very great. For For he had possession of the flock, and possession of herds, and great stores of servants. And the Philistines envied him. For all the wells which his father's servants had digged in the days of Abraham his father, the Philistines had stopped them, and filled them with earth. And Abimelech said unto Isaac, Go from us, for thou art much mightier than we. So while in Gerar, and he stayed put like God told him to, we see that God allowed Isaac to be what? Blessed and blessed greater. God prospered Isaac here. And he prospered him so greatly that the king showed up and said, what? You got to get out of here. You're doing better than we are. Right? And you keep doing this, and these people are going to want to crown you as king. They'll get you out of here. You're doing way too well. So the king tried to kick him out. Isaac has some trouble here with some of the herdsmen of Gerar, disputing with him over the wells because God is doing well and the wells are doing well. God continues to provide for Isaac, okay, and bless him because he's doing what he's told, and then staying put. God taking care of him. Go to verse 17. And Isaac departed thence and pitched his tent in the valley of Gerar and dwelt there. So he's reading after the king comes up and then tells him so. And Isaac digged again the wells of water, which they had digged in the days of Abraham his father, for the Philistines had stopped them up after the death of Abraham. And he called their names after the names of which his father had called them. And Isaac's servants digged in the valley and found there a well of springing water. And the herdmen of Gerar did strive with Isaac's herdmen, saying, The water is ours. And he called the name of the well Esed, because they strove with him. And they digged another well, and strove for that also, and he called the name of it Sitnah. And he removed from thence, and digged another well. And for that they strove not, and he called the name of it Rehoboth. And he said, For now the Lord hath made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land. And he went up from thence to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared unto him the same night, said, I am the God of Abraham thy father. Fear not, for I am with thee, and will bless thee, and multiply thy seed for my servant Abraham's sake. And he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants digged a well. So God prospered Isaac here, as we see in Gerar, and people came and kicked him out, and he eventually went to Beersheba because of every time he dug a well, essentially, as he's moving through the land, in the surrounding area, every time he dug a well, water showed up, and then people come in and wanted to take over because they were mad that they said that this was their land, and all the stuff kind of as we saw there down through verses 23 down to 27. Okay, God continuing here to provide for Isaac even when he is being disputed with over these wells that he's digging. That, as we see, most of them were Abraham's to start with. But God's continuing to reassure and provide for Isaac. So he moves down to Beersheba, we saw in verse 24, and God again shows up to Isaac and reassures him one more time that he's going to multiply his descendants and make sure that he's taken care of. And Isaac responds in verse 25 by building an altar and calling on the name of the Lord. Okay? And now we get down to verse 26, and we see that Abimelech shows back up. Okay, so Abimelech went to him from Gerar, and Ahuzath, one of his friends, and Phychel, the chief captain of his army, and said unto him, Wherefore come ye to me, seeing ye hate me, and have sent me away from you? And they said, We saw certainly that the Lord was with thee, and we said, Let there be now an oath betwixt us, even betwixt us and thee, and let us make a covenant with thee, that thou wilt do us no hurt, as we have not touched thee, as we have done unto thee nothing but good, and have sent thee away in peace. Thou art now blessed of the Lord. And he made them a feast, and they did eat and drink. And they rose up betimes in the morning, and sware one to another, and Isaac sent them away, and they departed from him in peace. And it came to pass the same day that Isaac's servants came and told him concerning the well which they had digged, and said unto him, We have found water. And he called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba unto this day. Okay, so Abimelech then, after he gets to Beersheba and builds the altar, Abimelech comes back and renews a covenant with Isaac. Okay, This was the original covenant that Abraham and Abimelech had made back a couple of chapters ago. This was, they are renewing it. And as Abimelech comes and wants to renew this, we see in verse 24, Isaac, had nothing to fear and was not supposed to fear in any way because God was with him. Okay? Now, the assurance of God's presence with Isaac didn't necessarily, though, have a lasting effect. So things are good right now with Isaac. But he later on, we're going to see, both ignores not just the will of God, but the presence of God. Esau, back on the scene here, decides to take 2 brides of his own from the Hittites, and he was not concerned in any way with marrying a woman who feared and worshiped God. So let's read verses 34, 35 to finish up the chapter. And Esau was, so after the Beersheba is there, the place is still called Beersheba unto this day for Saul. Back to verse 34, and Esau was 40 years old, and he took his wife Judith, the daughter of Beeri, the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite, which were a grief of mine unto Isaac and unto Rebekah. So marrying women that did not fear God, pagan women, as we see surprisingly, or not surprisingly, caused quite a bit of concern here for both Isaac and Rebekah. We see them being full of grief because he didn't take good godly women. Okay? On down to verse 27, we'll kind of finish out this part of this Isaac ignoring God's will. Read the first 2 verses. It came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. And he said, Behold, now I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now, when Isaac here at this point, some time has obviously passed from chapter 26 to chapter 27. I don't know exactly how much time. It's been quite a bit of time. Isaac here is much, much older. His eyesight is no good. He's old and blind, and he's thinking that his time to die is nearing. We actually know he's mistaken, right? He's still going to live for a little while. He brings in Esau because he prefers Esau over Jacob, and he wants to confirm the birthright to Esau, despite what God had told him many years ago when these 2 boys, 2 men now, were married. They're not married, but born. There, that's where they were born. Okay? If you go back to chapter 25 and look at verse 23, just as a refresher, just flip back over a page or 2. And the Lord said unto her, Rebekah here, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elders shall serve the younger. So this was back when they first found out, at the first ultrasound, right, found out having twins. God tells Isaac and Rebekah that Jacob is going to be the one that gets the birthright. But we see just over here now in chapter 27 that Isaac, thinking that he's going to be dying soon, he wants to give Esau the birthright. So we see Isaac's, the reason being is he preferred Esau over Jacob. Okay, he played favorites here. He likes Esau better. So he was going to try to give him the birthright. Although God had told him that was not going to be the case, we see another instance here where Isaac is ignoring the will of God and trying to do things his own way. He's blatantly ignoring him here. Verse 3 of chapter 27. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver, and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me, that I may eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. So Isaac here, blatantly ignoring the will of God, trying to favor his own will, tells Esau to go out and kill a deer and bring the food in and make his favorite soup, like he probably hadn't done many, many times. Make his favorite food, whatever it is. Now, just a few verses above this, we see that the fact that Esau had married 2 Hittite women, and it had caused Isaac a whole lot of grief and a whole lot of concern. Just that fact alone should have caused Isaac to reconsider his plan here. But he didn't. Okay? He was determined to do what he thought was best. He went forward with this anyway. And he went and asked Esau to hunt the game and prepare him this festive meal so that he could give him the birthright after he had it. Then now we get to verse 5 here, and then Mama comes on to the scene, right? We see Isaac has what he wants to happen, and now we're going to see Rebekah having some stuff she wants to make sure it happens. She's going to demand her will while all this is going on as well. So Rebekah, as we see in verse 5, she is around, and it says, verse 5, and Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. So she sees Isaac bring Esau in, and she just scurries over and puts her ear up to the tent, I guess, right? Kind of overhears what Isaac is asking Esau to do. And she has her own place. Verse 6, and Rebekah spake unto Jacob her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father speak unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me savory meat, that I may eat and bless thee before the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, according to that which I command thee. Go down to the flock, fetch me from thence 2 good kids of goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, and that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall sing to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me, and I will bless it. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch him for me. So Rebekah here overhears this, and she wants Jacob to obey her voice. And Rebekah here kind of assumes a role here in giving Jacob some commands. And even though Rebekah is Jacob's mother, and had obviously a measure of authority over him, she was playing the role of the ultimate authority in his life by commanding him to go in and deceive his father. And commanding him to do very specific things to try to get the will. She's inserting her will in place of the will of God. Now, Rebekah, of course, we know, loved Jacob. She was willing to involve him in this deceitful plan, distort Jacob's thinking here, degrade his character, and contribute more to the dysfunction of this family. Okay, she's willing to do all these things to make sure she gets her way. The disruption of her family here to get her way betrays the fact that she loved herself more than Isaac, more than Jacob, and even more than the Lord. So she comes up with a plan very quickly, decides what to do, tells Jacob to go to pretend to be Esau. She's going to trick his father into giving him the blessing instead. Jacob's response was disappointing here, right? So we see this response, and it's pretty disappointing. He says nothing about the fact that his mom wants him to go in and to deceive their father. But he wants to kind of increase the deception, right? He says, well, this plan is not going to work the whole way. Esau's, he's covered in hair, he's got a hairy man, and I'm not. He goes feeling on me, and he very quickly realizes that I'm not Esau. So he doesn't even bat an eye at this whole deceptive plan. He actually tries to make it even more, come up with a way to make it even more deceptive. As we see in verse 12, we'll finish up with this, verse 12 and 13. He's a little more cautious here, wants to make sure the deception is even better, and he doesn't want to get caught. We see that Rebekah says in verse 12, my father peradventure will fill me, and I shall seek him and bring a curse on me, and I'm blessing him. In verse 13, Rebekah says, and his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son, only obey my voice, and go fetch me, then he was, Jacob here is concerned about the consequences of what he's doing. He's not concerned about the principle of what he's doing. And as a mother here, Rebecca, she should have kind of taken a step back and, all right, yeah, let's fix this. Let's not try to be as deceptive as we're going to be. But she doesn't. She goes as far as responding to say, I'll take the curse. That's how much she wants to involve her own will into the will of God. Okay? Now we'll stop right there for today. Next week, we'll pick back up right with this. And we see Jacob claiming God's will, Esau seeking to destroy God's will, and a couple other things as well. All right, so let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the lesson we had today. And as we, Lord, continue to see positive and negative instances of people being trustworthy and faithful to your will, and how you bless them. We think of the case of Isaac staying in the lane he told him to. And then the negative of it as well is we'll kind of see some of the consequence later on of these individuals trying to insert their own will into your plan. Now that just never works out. As we will continue to see these instances and see these accounts of what happened and the deceptions that were there and the problems and dysfunction that's caused as well, we pray that it's a good reminder to us and a good lesson for us, Lord, to make sure that we are staying true and faithful to what you want us to do for our lives, Lord. We're staying true and faithful to our relationship with you as well. Not trying to go by and do things our own way with no fear of consequence, Lord. We're reminded of the importance of living lives that is led and directed and guided by you. And that only comes from hearts who are willing to ask for and be faithful to the response that we get, making sure that we're doing our lives. So I pray that that's the desire of our hearts this morning, to be focused on serving